Oh boy, the semifinals are here. Chelsea, we're coming for you. Let's get to it. What's up guys? Welcome back to El Merengue Cule. Can you believe we are here in the semifinals of the Champions League? If you would have asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have said you were out of your mind if you told me that Madrid was going to reach the semifinals. And I would have likewise said it for Chelsea, especially after the start of the season that they had. However, things have significantly changed for Chelsea now that Thomas Tuchel has arrived, overtaking Lampard. Now, normally I would be giving you guys the full in-depth analysis on the team that we are playing. However, this time is different. This is a special time, and I went ahead and got an expert on Chelsea for us. An expert that will be breaking down all the strengths, all the weaknesses, players to watch out for from Chelsea. After her full in-depth analysis, I'm going to go in and break down the 5 keys that are necessary for Real Madrid to come out victorious out of this Chelsea match. But without further ado, our guest, our first ever collaborator with El Merengue Cule, Elizabeth Helenek. Take it away.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Elizabeth and I'm here to bring a Chelsea perspective to this match preview. Real Madrid versus Chelsea. It's going to be a super exciting game. I feel a very tactical game between Zidane and Thomas Tuchel to see who comes out on top. It's very exciting because these teams really haven't faced off against each other in the Champions League before, and we have a lot of players that have played for both sides. We have Kovacic, Courtois, and of course the man that every Chelsea fan loves, Eden Hazard. We just hold such a special place for him in our hearts. So it's going to be a really interesting and maybe a little bit of an emotional game for us. So Chelsea haven't reached a Champions League semifinal since 2014. So we could be looked at as the underdogs going into this match. But I think Chelsea tend to perform pretty well under pressure and perform well when they're considered to be the underdogs. Like Real Madrid, Chelsea have really had an up and down season. It started off pretty well, then went into a losing slump, and then we changed managers halfway through the season. Thomas Tuchel has come in and really reinvigorated this Chelsea side. Looking at his progress with this side, Chelsea have just 2 losses in 21 games under Thomas Tuchel, so that could be something to be worried about. And in that time, they've kept 16 clean sheets, so the defense is really strong. Thomas Tuchel tends to play in a back 5 formation. It's a 3-4-2-1, if you will. I think that the center backs are probably going to be Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva for leadership and experience, as well as Rodrigo, and I think we're probably going to see Reece James in that right wing back role in order to deal with the pace of who's on the left wing for you guys, whether that be Marcelo coming up on the flank or Vinicius Jr. or our very own Eden Hazard as well. Really going to be a tactical battle, I think, to see who can come out on top. Really going to be one in the midfield. If Chelsea can keep possession and move the ball quickly, I think that we could make it potentially difficult for Real Madrid. But you guys have such an incredible midfield trio, especially Modric and Toni Kroos and Casemiro as well. So it's going to be really tough battle. The one thing I will say is that Chelsea are without Mateo Kovacic through injury. You guys know how great Kovacic is, and we're really missing him. The 2 midfield players in Conte and Jorginho really haven't had a chance to rest because they've had to play all of the Premier League games because Kovacic has been out. Both of those players just played against Brighton at the weekend just 2 days ago, so they really don't have that much time to rest ahead of this match. So that could be something. Looking for tired legs, maybe you guys will take advantage of that. Chelsea also have a tendency to have a lot of possession but not do so much with it, so maybe they fall back into a rhythm of passing side to side and not necessarily making those forward passes. So that's something that Chelsea are going to need to do in order to break down Real Madrid. Looking at Chelsea's strengths and weaknesses, obviously a major strength of Chelsea is the defense, keeping all of those clean sheets. We've kept a lot of teams at bay and kept clean sheets against the likes of Liverpool, Tottenham, Man United, Atletico Madrid twice, Porto, now Man City as well. So we're keeping clean sheets against the big sides, but there are opportunities in those games. So if you guys get an opportunity, you could perfectly score, because we have seen a lot of very close calls in these games. A weakness weakness of Chelsea is probably the attack. If you look at the wins that Chelsea have had, they have not won by many goals. It's really been a lot of 1-0 wins. Maybe you'll see a 2-goal win, but that's pretty rare for Chelsea. And that's really down to the attackers. We just have so many attackers that we don't really know who to go for. So we have Pulisic, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, and Kai Havertz. They're all kind of rotating and playing in that role. So it's going to be interesting to see who Thomas Tuchel decides to start in this match. I really have no idea. I'm thinking Ziyech for his experience and maybe Timo Werner because they've been linking up together. They scored against Man City. They also scored against Porto, I believe. So they're starting to develop some chemistry, but who really knows? I think that we'll probably see all of them play at some point in the tie. And as for a player for you guys to watch out for, definitely keep your eye on Mason Mount. He's Chelsea's player of the season. He's only 22, but he's a real force to be reckoned with. He's all over on the pitch, really initiates Chelsea's press, very energetic. He makes very important interceptions to start the attack. He's a goal threat as well, scored against Liverpool and Porto, so definitely keep your eye out for that. So thanks so much for listening to this preview. I hope that it was helpful for you guys, and if you liked it and you want to see Chelsea content for some reason, feel free to follow me on Twitter at Ellie_Hellenic, or on YouTube I have my own channel, Elizabeth Hellenic. Bye.
Just wonderful. Thank you so much once again to Elizabeth Hellenic for that great analysis. Now, I want to remind you guys to go to her account, check her videos out, and if you haven't had enough of us, we went ahead and did a second video on her account. It is a full-on live stream, 50 minutes worth of us breaking down 100% both Real Madrid and Chelsea. So, like I said, if you haven't had enough of us, go ahead and check that video out too, and make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. But alright, now time for my segment, the 5 keys that are going to be required for Real Madrid to beat Chelsea. But before starting with that, we have to get the lineup out. Now, I've been giving this lineup a lot of thought. Because of the fact that Chelsea is running a 5-in-the-back formation, I feel like Zidane is highly likely to try to match that and counteract them, beat them at their own game using their system. And that is especially, that belief is especially stronger and more solidified whenever we take into account that we have Ferland Mendy missing for this match. Aside from him, we also have Federico Valverde missing still with COVID, which will be a big loss for us. But going back to the formation, with Mendy out, it forces Zidane to make some changes. I think he's less likely to run 4-in-the-back formation. So with that being said, we're going to be going with 5 in the back. Right back spot is going to go to Carvajal, who had a pretty good 68 minutes this weekend in our league match, and I think he may be ready to go. I trust him way more than Odriozola. He provides a lot more in attack and in defense, so he'll be the right back for us. Militao, Varane, Nacho, 3 solid rocks back there in defense to help prevent this Chelsea from scoring a goal on us. And on that left back position, our main left back for that's available, which would be Marcelo, who is going to be one of my keys that we break down in a couple of minutes. Midfield, I don't have to even give him an introduction. You guys know who it is, Mr. Champions League winner midfield, and that is Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric. That's that. Enough said about them for now. And then up top, will be interesting. I'm going to be going for Benzema, of course. And then the other one is Vinicius Jr. Now, I know a lot of you guys maybe want to see Hazard play. I'm personally leaning towards giving Hazard the last 15-20 minutes of the game and seeing what he can do. If Zidane ends up going with maybe a 4-3-3 formation, then I could potentially see either Rodrigo, Hazard, or Asensio battling it out for that spot, and only then would I give Hazard a bigger chance of starting this game. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the 5 keys that we're going to be talking about. And the first one is in the midfield. Like I said, guys, we don't need to give an introduction to our midfield. They need to dominate the midfield. If we're able to take control of that midfield and dictate the tempo of the game, then Chelsea will have a lot harder of a time finding the ball and being able to counter us, to keep possession of us, to do any damage to us. We know that. And now I'm going to jump on a little bit into the second part, the second key of this video, which is dealing with fatigue. We know that our midfielders, these 3, have been playing day in, day out since the season started. And by now, it's not a joke. We don't have to lie to anyone. If you watch Madrid play, especially in La Liga, you see that all 3 of these players, especially Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, are pretty dead. they don't have the same energy to defend anymore. When they attack on the ball, when they attack and have the ball, their legs look a little more sluggish. So being able to fight this fatigue is going to be crucial for key point number 1, which is dominating the midfield. Now, Toni Kroos has been rested for 2 weeks. I say rested because we didn't quite know if it was an injury or what was happening. There was never an official statement from the club saying that he was injured. He would even go to certain matches and just stay on the bench, go watch certain matches. So in my opinion, Zidane literally said, you're going to rest for 2 weeks. I don't care if we drop points in the Liga. This is the most important game of the season thus far, and we need you. And I think it may be the right decision from Zidane. Modric was out for a little bit of an injury for a second, so he got a little bit of a rest. And Casemiro's just gonna have to be a monster as he always is. But yes, so that is gonna be crucial for us. And then key point number 3 is to not concede a goal. Obviously, we're gonna be playing at home in our own home stadium for this game, and we know the importance of the away goals. Now, Chelsea is a side that, just like us, have struggled a lot to score this season. Kind of like Elizabeth was mentioning, the constant rotation of strikers up top brings a lot of problems in terms of building up chemistry for these strikers. So, like I said, struggling is definitely going to be a problem for them. However, with that being said, they also have a lot of variants and they can bring up. So if something isn't working, Tuchel can easily change it up to something else. With Pulisic, Havertz, all the players that Elizabeth named, they have a lot of variety to attack us. So we're going to have to be really careful. Obviously, if we run 5 in the back, it helps us be a little more solid in defense. No stupid mistakes can be made in this game. No stupid mistakes. And taking it to the other side of the pitch, we're going to have to talk about key number 4, which is we're going to have to be clinical. We know how Chelsea is. Doesn't score much, but also doesn't concede much. Tuchel is averaging, ever since he got to Chelsea, only 0.43 goals conceded per game, which is obviously less than half a goal, which goes to show, and for those of you guys that don't really know too much or that statistic doesn't mean much, that is a very, very good statistic, indicating that this team doesn't concede a lot of goals. So with that being said, we've seen Real Madrid not be clinical in certain big games. With Liverpool, we could have put them away by even more goals in that first leg, but we didn't. Against Barcelona, we could have put them away 4-0 maybe even if we got a little luckier in that first half of El Clásico, and we didn't do it. So we're gonna have to be extremely clinical. Benzema is gonna have to be on his day. Vinicius Jr. is gonna have to come in with that Liverpool mode in his mind where he scored 2 goals. It is going to be crucial that we bag ourselves at least 1 goal and not concede any. And taking it to the final key, which is going to be the leadership aspect. Obviously, Ramos is still hurt, and him not being on the field, while we have done a great job replacing him defensively with Militao, Nacho, and Varane, the leadership aspect of it still worries me at times, especially when it comes to such a big match. Ramos is a player with loads of experience, and not having him on the pitch may affect us. We obviously have a lot of players with a lot of experience out there, such as Carvajal, Marcelo, Casemiro, Toni Kroos, and Modric, who all can step up, but we just need to make sure that they actually step up. Whether if Ramos is going to be at the game, kind of like he was against Liverpool game, I'm not sure, but if he is, I surely do hope so, because even from the bench, he can help out a lot in terms of leadership. And now onto some parting words before we finish off this video and enter the final couple hours until the game begins. Of course, we're gonna be live streaming this video, so I want to make sure that all of you guys, we need to have 100% viewership. No, that's probably pretty hard, but I do want all of you guys to join us in for that live stream. And lastly, I just want to send out a quick warning to be careful with this Chelsea team. I know a lot of us were pretty hyped to be facing Chelsea as opposed to PSG, Manchester City, but this Chelsea team is no joke. They have just beat Manchester City recently, and with Thomas Tuchel, he really has changed up the whole team. So I'm going to say once again, we must be careful. We cannot take this game for granted. We are not at the final of the Champions League just yet, and we're going to have to suffer. We're not going to go on to that final without some suffering from Chelsea. And one more thing. I have to say that I'm not going to hype him up, but be careful with him. Be careful with this man, because against his old team, we never know if he's going to come in some sort of inspired form. We never know. That's all I'm going to say. Be careful with him who shall not be named. Okay, guys, And we are onto the final part of this video, which is your score prediction. Remember, I always ask for you guys to give the score prediction. We're getting very close to the end of the season, and someone is getting very close to winning this beautiful Karim Benzema home jersey. So this could be in your hands if you leave your score prediction down below. And obviously I will put your name on the leaderboards if you get it correct. Before giving my score prediction, I'm gonna give the mic to Elizabeth so she can tell us what she thinks is gonna happen.
And I'm going to go 1-0 to Chelsea. Obviously I have to be a little bit optimistic in my team, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were to be like a 1-1.
Now, all the Chelsea fans may dream, but for me, Real Madrid is going to come victorious out of this matchup. It's going to be close, just like Elizabeth said, but close in the favor of Madrid. 1-0 victory for the Madridistas. So guys, it's time to get hype. It's time to get hype. Make sure you hit a big like button down below. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And with that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow for that live stream. And as always, a la Madrid! Ciao!